Hi everyone, Kelly here, and yes, you see a cattail probably. I wanted to do a new video for me. I wanted to do a currently reading video, and the reason is because if you saw my updates in the last couple months, I've decided to no longer do TBRs because I just found as a super mood reader, it was just too much for me. I would say I was going to read all these books and then I wouldn't. I'd feel guilty about it. It just was putting too much pressure on my reading. But I also like the point of TBRs as in like to show you things that are coming up that I'll be reviewing soon, so you can like kind of see what might show up in my next review video and stuff like that. And so since I'm not doing TBRs, I thought I would do a currently reading update just every once in a while. So you would see what I'm reading and what might be showing up in reviews soon. And part of the reason is because sometimes it takes me a while to finish a book because I might like read it for a while and then put it down for a week and then pick it back up. So sometimes it takes me a while to read some of these. So these are things that you might see a couple weeks from now in a review. My cat is like going after the pile of books. And also I end up reading a lot of books at the same time. And part of that is because I always have an ebook, an audiobook, and a physical book, sometimes more than one, because I just change my moods all the time. So I might be in the middle of a fantasy book and then realize I really want a cutesy contemporary. So then I pick up that contemporary and come back to the fantasy like a week later. So right now I think I'm in the middle of 4, 5, 6 books. Yeah, so I'm just going to tell you about each of the ones I'm currently reading, how I'm feeling about them so far, and how far I am, so you know kind of like when I might be reviewing them. So first of all, my audiobook that I am listening to, I just started yesterday. It's called My Dear Hamilton, and of course I forget the authors because there's 2 authors. I'll put a picture of it here so you can see the authors' names. And this is a historical fiction all about Eliza Hamilton, the wife of Alexander Hamilton. And I'm buddy reading this with a group of people that I buddy read with on Discord. And I think we're supposed to have this finished. We're going to talk about it on the 15th or something around there, or the 12th. I can't remember, somewhere around that time. So I will be finishing it in the next week so that we can talk about it on that thing. I'm only about 13% of the way through because I just started it yesterday, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It starts before she even meets Hamilton, so I'm liking like getting to know her before she becomes Hamilton's wife. So that one's good. My ebook that I am reading right now is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, and I wasn't going to get on the Twilight board, and I'm not going to like read the whole series again. When I read the series the first time, I only enjoyed book 1, and I just think that I wouldn't enjoy reading the whole series again. But I just wanted to read the first one again before trying Midnight Sun. I don't even know if I'm going to make it through the whole Midnight Sun, if I'm going to enjoy it, but I just wanted to give it a try. I am about halfway through Twilight, and I'm not loving it, but it's fine. Like, it's kind of enjoyable to return to it, but I am seeing a lot of issues with it because I always thought I liked the first one and didn't like how it developed, but now I'm realizing that maybe the first one has just as many issues as the rest of the series, and I was just in the mood for it at that time. Yeah, so I'm not necessarily loving it, but I am going to continue because it's an easy, fast read. And then now for the physical books I'm reading. So I am more than halfway through The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This was one of the ones I did for my try a chapter lowest rated books on my TBR video. And this was one that I was pulled in by the first couple chapters, so I really wanted to continue. And I'm really loving it so far. I mean, it's definitely darker than I expected it to be. Like, it's not, like, it has this fairy tale vibe, but it's not like happy fairy tale. It's definitely like creepy fairy tale. Like, I was reading this last night before bed, and I had to put it aside and pick up Twilight because I was getting like creeped out. So yeah, this is definitely more on the dark side, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So those 3 books, that audiobook, ebook, and physical book, are the ones that I would say that I'm actively reading, meaning that like basically every day I have read a portion of that book recently. So I am like actively reading it. And then sometimes I have books on my currently reading that I haven't picked up in a few days or even a week, but I still count myself as currently reading and I could pick up anytime. And the one I would say fits in that category is Lodestar by Shannon Messenger. This is the 5th book in the Keeper of the Lost City series, which is a middle grade fantasy. And I started this one, I think like halfway through August, And then I like read like 20% of it. My bookmark, my daughter took my bookmark out, so I don't remember where I'm at. I read like 20% of it, and then I just kind of wasn't in the mood for middle grade fantasy anymore. And it's a long book, so I put it down, and I haven't picked it up in probably a week or so, but I feel like I'm going to pick it up basically as soon as I'm done with the Hazelwood. I'll probably pick this one back up because I'll still be in a fantasy mood, and I'll get some more of this read because it is pretty thick. So hopefully I'll have this done by the end of September, but I'm just taking my time with it since it's a big book. And then I've got a book that I haven't read recently because it got returned to the library. So I was reading Starsight by Brandon Sanderson over the summer. You probably saw it in a couple, like I think I had it in a vlog. I was reading it and some people were like, oh, I'm sure you've read it by now, finished it. Did you like it? And I'm sorry for people that made those comments. I did not respond to you because I kept thinking, oh, I'll finish it and then I can respond to you. And then it was due back to the library, so I didn't finish it. So I got through part 1. I mean, luckily I like basically, I don't know where it is because I haven't put a bookmark back in, but when the library needed it returned, I was at the end of part 1. And so it kind of feels like a clean break. Now I can pick it back up and start with part 2. And so I think that was maybe like around 12% of the way through. So I was still towards the beginning. It just happened to be that, you know, I waited so long to pick it up that it was too close to the due date. But now I have it again for a couple months. So I'll definitely pick that back up and start on it. And then once I pick it up, I'm sure it'll go fast. And then this is not necessarily currently reading because I haven't started it yet, but I know I'm going to start this book in the next couple days because it's a buddy read. And that is The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. And this, I think, is like an alternate history sci-fi book about lady astronauts. And I'm supposed to be buddy reading this with Murphy Napier's Patreons, and they all started on the 1st of the month. But then I only just got this book from the library yesterday, so that's why I haven't started it yet. But now that I have it in my possession, I will probably start it tomorrow and join the buddy read and catch up with everybody else. So that is my plan. That is what I am currently reading this week. These 4 books plus the audiobook and the ebook. And that's it. That's kind of a view of kind of my currently reading. So yeah, I would say on average, I usually am currently reading like 6 or 7 books, but then maybe only actively reading 3. And then once one of those switch out, I might put another one of the 6 in as like current or actively reading. So yeah, that's kind of how it works being a mood reader and reading like a bunch of books at once. As you notice, I don't necessarily read a bunch of the same genre at one time. Like I have a historical fiction, I've got a paranormal, and you know, a fantasy. Like I know there's 2 fantasies, but this one's definitely a lot different fantasy than that one. So if I mix it up with my genres and stuff like that, I don't mess up the characters or the plots or things like that. It only happens if I'm currently reading like 2 books that are very similar, and I just try not to do that. And plus, as a mood reader, I wouldn't do that because if I was in the mood for a specific kind of book, I would just stick with that book. I wouldn't pick up another one. So yeah, that's it for me. Let me know what you're currently reading and which one of these you are excited for me to review soon. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.